By cultivating school gardens in San Francisco's underserved neighborhoods, Urban Sprouts partners with youth and their families to build eco-literacy, equity, wellness, and community.
I think knowing where your food comes from and how it's being grown, specifically like the use of pesticides, or if it's organic, there's no use of pesticides, really impacts what you eat. Because I think when you know what's being used in it, it makes you less likely to eat something that's maybe being grown with pesticides or growth hormones versus something that's being grown organically. And I think that you get firsthand knowledge of how food is being grown and experience with how food is being grown when you have your own garden.
I do think there's a bonus to the mental aspect, as one knows where their food is coming from and what's being done to it in the growing process.
For me, at least, if I know that my food is coming from a safe environment where there's ethical, a situation ethical environment that it's being grown in, I'm more likely to eat it.
Well, then the consumer is just much more aware and knowledgeable of what they're putting into their body.
You're working in a garden, you have an awareness of the fact that food is grown on plants that have cycles and they can't normally grow all times of year.
Yeah, whenever I go to the produce section and I look for raspberries or for apples and whatnot, if there's an organic option, I'll definitely choose that, and I definitely look where it's grown. And I've looked on the internet and stuff about, like, it says California grown, but then there's like specific farms and stuff that I'll look at. So I definitely choose the organic over non-organic.
I try to be, but it's not ideal to be completely conscious of it 100% of the time, because we live in a world where there are so many people and most of the food has to be genetically modified or messed with in a certain way in order to cater to the huge demographic that makes up the world. There are only a select amount of places that provide the knowledge of where their food came from and what processes it's undergone. Oh yeah, it's really beneficial because it promotes the idea of locally grown food, and that tends to be healthier, much more conventional in the way that it's grown, not a whole lot of herbicides and pesticides, and it's a more natural process because they're not catering to a huge demographic.
Well, I do have a garden. It's a roof deck garden, but I don't really grow produce up there. I grow strawberries, but besides that, nothing really.
Do you eat your strawberries?
Yes, I do. And I don't use anything but like fertilizer. Well, the fertilizer, but it's like organic fertilizer and stuff.
Have you noticed that organic strawberries are sweeter than GMO strawberries?
They're definitely sweeter, but they're smaller. And I think that the reason that they use growth hormones and pesticides is because it makes the strawberries look like more voluptuous.
I own my own garden here, but I moved to San Francisco in 2005, and before that I lived in northern Wisconsin and owned 10 acres and had a garden there.
I care about nutrition and health education, so it's important to me that the issue is presented, advocated for, and not pushed aside. It's easy for people to forget about the origin of their food, and I think people need to appreciate their local farmers because they are the people providing some of the healthiest food.